Welcome to Showboys and our official Demon Slayer companion series. I am Chad. This is Brady. He's back for yet another episode. And I have to say, I'm excited. First off, we're going to be talking about my boy today a little bit, Moichiro. So I had to slap on the Moichiro shirt.
Of course.
And
right?
you have a new background that is full of Demon Slayer stuff. So you have like a Demon Slayer. You got Nezuko and Tanjiro from like the first episode there. And then you have Rui, one of our favorite fights. I think I made. What did Rui make? Like our top 5 fights?
Let's see if I can point to it correctly.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, Rui made our top 5 fights, and then it looks like another Tanjiro up under that. The funny part of this is that we recorded Pale Beyond this week, and before the episode started, I was talking about your background and what your mom normally has up there, which is not appropriate for a kid's podcast. So we were talking about it, and then mommy took it upon herself to fix the background just out of the blue. Randomly.
I didn't know she did. She didn't tell me.
Yeah.
And there is a Funko Pop up there that you can't see because of the camera.
What is it? Oh, because of the camera. It's cut off by the camera. What is it?
It's Tanjiro when they were like acting as girls.
Oh, yeah.
Had the red cheeks and everything.
I have a Tanjiro. If I can get this without knocking over all my Persona figures. I have this that I haven't even opened yet.
You haven't
opened? Which is
it?
Tanjiro.
I mean, this isn't opened either. So, what number is that?
867.
Dang, so they're really far apart.
Yeah. I'm not even going to attempt to put that back up there because it was literally sitting on that Sekiro manga. So if I even attempt, it's going to collapse my entire thing. Anyway, we are back with another companion series episode for Demon Slayer Season 4. And we are going to be discussing Episode 4 and Episode 5 today.
Yes.
And kind of going to be following in the trend of the last episode where it's not a lot of meat on the bones here with these episodes.
Just training. We
get a little bit here. I think we're going to get a lot more kind of lore and background in next week's episode. When we meet the Stone Hashira for the first time, we get a good little, I think, flashback there that we can dive into. But these 2 episodes are going to follow in line kind of with last week's where, like Brady said, it's just more training.
Yeah, training. You know what you did? And we're 4 minutes and 20 minutes. We're 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the podcast.
There's no way I mispronounced something.
You didn't, but you called him the Stone Hashira. What's his name? I'm already prepared to say one. So.
Stone Hashira. What is his name? That's a great friggin' question. Stone Hashira.
You'll get it. Don't worry.
I don't think I'm going to get it. Stone Hashira's name is definitely Fred. I have no idea. That was my guess.
Can I put that on there as one?
Yeah, you can put it on there as one.
That's wrong.
What is it?
I don't know.
You don't know his name either.
I forgot.
You're giving me crap. And
it's Guillaume.
Guillaume, yes, of course.
Just came to me.
Just came to you magically. Yeah, so we're gonna see him. We're gonna see him next episode. And I think we do get. I don't know if it'll definitely be in next week's companion series episode because we're gonna be doing 2 episodes. I just don't know which episode of those 2 it's in, but we get a little background story on his, which is actually really good. But overall, episodes 4 and 5, talk to me. How did you feel just broadly overall before we dive into them?
Bored.
Yeah.
Just watching. It's just training. We get a little fight scene, but
yeah, we get little snippets of fights through both episodes. But yeah, dude, it's just, it kind of goes in line with what we've been saying so much this companion series, which is this all really could have been a movie. You know what I mean?
It really could
have been a single 2-hour long movie.
Honestly.
Or maybe even an hour and a half long movie.
Yeah. And they had to
But I
put it
get
into a
that.
series.
I get that they want to finish it with movies, so maybe it wasn't practical to do 4 movies with this being the first one. Because honestly, even as a movie, this stuff probably would have been pretty boring up until that final episode, and we'll get to that. And I can't wait. And we're getting closer and closer, and I can't wait to talk about that because that's the big showstopper for the season is that finale.
Cliffhanger.
Big cliffhanger, and I think it was really well done with how boring the rest of the episodes are. So the problem with like when Nick and I did season 2 of House of the Dragon, it was all these building up to something moments like we're getting here in Demon Slayer, but it never built up to anything. Like it just, the final episode was just another slow burn. You know, it felt like we were building up in House of the Dragon all season long to a big battle at the end, and it just never came. And then the season ended and we're done. So we got, so I think that the parallel here is a little bit better because we are getting boring episodes through a majority of the season, but the finale of this season
the
is
last one. Oh, it's so good.
And I might even make the argument that it's one of, if not the best episode of the series so far. So
ever?
Ever.
The whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I think it is really.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of any other.
Well, really up there.
I probably can. What season are we on?
We're on season 4.
Season 3? No. 2? Would it be 2? Whenever Tengen came in, that last fight scene, that last episode was really good.
Say it again?
Tengen? What season?
Tengen, that was season 2, yeah. Yeah, that was season 2. I'm pretty sure that was season 2. Yeah. It was definitely season 2, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think it had to be season 2.
Couldn't have been 3 because
last season. Yeah, so it was definitely season 2 was Tengen. Yeah, that final fight scene is really, really good. I just think for storytelling and where we're heading after that finale, I think that is what pushes it over the edge. Plus, some of the animation in it is some of the best animation in the series so far, and hands down the best animation I've seen in anime. So, so sweet. Yeah, I think we kind of line up together the same way here, where it's just like these episodes were like, okay, But let's get into them. Episode 4 is titled "To Bring a Smile to One's Face." And we see Tanjiro kind of where we left him in last week's episode, which is at Moichiro's training. And kind of the exact, the episode opens with the exact same scene from the final scene from the last episode, which is him just working over these core members in his little dojo. And obviously they're no match for him. We also get a little snippet. And we get a little snippet here of Moichiro's crow, who is just like a loudmouth, annoying crow that's just like berating them.
For some reason, I can't remember his crow at all last season. I don't know why. He definitely came in at some point.
I think he definitely did. Yeah, I think he definitely showed up at some point last season. I know for a fact that he did. I just don't remember where. But basically, Tanjiro watches him work over these core members. And at the end, Moichiro is like, Tanjiro, I want to show you something. And they walk over to a little hut, and one of the swordsmiths are there from the...
Don't say his name, because I know I got it.
Okay, what is it?
Oh, no. Kanamori?
Kanamori. Yeah, that's it.
I'm not getting one wrong.
Mr. Kanamori is there, and he kind of shows Tanjiro like his collection of swords, and he's like, here, Tanjiro, hold this sword real quick. Just hold it straight up. So Tanjiro holds it, and he takes a paper plane and kind of throws it, and it slices the plane in half, which means that sword is
very sharp.
Incredibly sharp. Yes. So you wouldn't think, because in your head, when you think about like the sharpness of a knife or a sword, you were like, oh, any knife is going to cut through a piece of paper, but it's not true. It's not true. And even if you go down, like, I'll show you when we're done recording here, like probably some of our kitchen knives don't even cut through paper. So just the fact that he's able to throw it midair and slice it, it means it's very sharp. Because typically, like if I did that with this katana and had you throw a paper airplane at it, the paper airplane would hit it and fall. You know what I mean? It wouldn't slice it in half. So it was kind of cool. But I had a little bit. So I wanted to look up because I was a little confused. What did we say the year was for this show? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, it was like
the Thai
17.
show.
No, it wasn't. Was it
No.
18 something?
No, it's 19 something.
It is?
Yeah. 1912 to 1926. So I wanted to look up. Okay. So I wanted to look up the first airplane because I was like, this has got to be freaking, like, how do they already have paper airplanes? There's not even real airplanes yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, how do they come up with the idea to make paper airplanes when there's not? But there actually was. So the Wright brothers.
Yeah, wasn't that like 1910?
1903, yeah.
Oh, dang. I was
So there were.
way off.
So no, you were close. So there definitely were planes. So when I first watched this, I was like, wow, how the heck? Because I think I just get so spun up in the samurai aspect of Demon Slayer that I don't even think that it's like Red Dead time, like the early 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Because it just feels so much older.
It does. It does. And I think that's what's cool. The parallel in Demon Slayer is that you have these modern things like trains and cities with electricity and that stuff, but then you also have the old school feudal Japanese vibe going on with the
and
samurai
even katanas
swords.
sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, I've always enjoyed that about Demon Slayer. I mean, they could have easily whoever wrote this could have easily wrote it for the 1800s, 1700s, or classic samurai time, 1500s, around then. So I've enjoyed it. I just, when I saw the paper airplane, I was like, I'm gonna have to look that one up because I wasn't too sure.
And then we look at it.
Yeah. So we jump back to the dojo and we see Moichiro kind of working over these guys again, just beating the crap out of them.
Yeah,
and then they're all kind of like taking a chill. I think it's like the end of training for the day. They're all sitting there with Tanjiro and they ask him like, Tanjiro, can you talk to Moichiro and like have him ease up on us? And I thought Tanjiro brought up like a pretty good point here where Tanjiro's like, I'm pretty sure this training is way harder on him than it is on any of us because he's the only one here on that side of the fighting. And there's like 10 of us. So he's doing that all by himself. And they're like, oh yeah, that's probably a good point. So we see, Moichiro leave the dojo's gates and somebody says, like, Tanjiro says, I wonder where he's going. And they're like, I think he's going to eat dinner. He leaves every night. We don't know where he's going. So we get a flash over to the city and we see those little the demon eyeball bug things.
And then we like zoom into an alleyway and there's so many.
Yeah, like thousands of them. But we actually do see, and I know you're not going to remember that. Maybe you will remember this lady, but we do see a demon here. And it is the lady that plays the little guitar thing. It's not a guitar. I don't remember what it's called, but do you remember what her name was?
No clue.
No clue. Let's look it up. So she is actually the one that is controlling the little bug things.
Yes. Eyeballs.
Nakami? Does that sound right? Nakami?
Yeah.
I don't know. She's
a new tab on here and look something up.
I wouldn't mess with it. Why? What do you want to look up? Just tell me. I'll look it up.
I was gonna look up her name. I was just asking you if I wanted to look something else up. I could.
Yeah, no, just tell me. I'll look it up. This is the lady. If you remember our companion series, I think last year. Yeah, because that was the first companion series official. Anyway, she's the one that looks like the girl from The Ring.
Mm-hmm. Horrifying.
That's who that. Yeah. So that's who this is. She's controlling these bugs, and she's able to see through it, and she sees Moichiro running through the town. So that's going to be important for later on. So we'll put a little pin in that for later episodes. But we see finally, we talked about this last week, but who do we pop into here as they're about to have a fight?
Obanai, and is his first name Set? I can never say it right.
I don't know
I
what
think I'm
I've always
saying it
just
right,
called
I just
him.
can't decide.
Are you talking about Shinazugawa?
Yeah. Is it Senami or Sanami or
I think it's Senami.
Senami? Then we'll
Senami?
just call him
Yeah.
Shinazugawa. It's
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
way
that's
easier
to
somehow.
say. Yeah, which is weird. Shinazugawa. It's a lot longer. It's got a Z and stuff in it. Confusing.
Yeah, you would think that's
Can't.
way harder, but
No,
some of
it's
those first
10
Japanese names trip
times
me up a little
easier.
bit. Yeah. So we show up to them. They were discussing about having a fight last episode, and we actually commented like, do we ever see that fight? So we do actually see it, and it starts here a little bit, and it's cool. I mean, this is one of the fight scenes that we're going to get in one of these episodes.
Yes.
It's we see serpent breathing a little bit, so that's cool. But this is actually where Moichiro is heading as well, and he shows up and is basically like, here, I want to fight with you guys. And they discuss like, Moichiro, you come here every night. Like, aren't you exhausted from your training? He's like, that training's for them, but it really does nothing for us. You know what I mean? Like, we're well past what they're doing. So they need to train as well. So not only are the Hashira training the lower members, but they also have to keep up on their own training.
Which is so true because we've only been to 2 trainings, which we'll get to more, but every other core member has been so weak, especially compared to the trainer and Tanjiro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're super weak. And it is funny like how weak they are. They're like obnoxiously weak and always like crying and just getting the crap beat out of them.
Have
So I
that
do
same
feel
like weird looking middle part.
Yeah.
That's like super short.
Right.
Why do they all have that? What?
I don't know. Maybe it's because like our military, how they like shave your heads when you join. Maybe it's like that. They all have to have the same haircut or something. But so they all have a fight, and again, I have to comment on it again. Mist breathing, always visually impressive when we see mist breathing. I hope we see a lot more of it through these movies that are coming out because it's just visually really cool looking.
You love it. I already know you do.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite
Hashira? Did we do favorite Hashiras?
We definitely did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did favorite Hashiras last week, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I put Giyu. Moichiro is number 2 for me.
Okay.
Giyu will always be my favorite.
Yeah. What was your?
But it's funny
3?
because they're very similar if you think about it, Giyu and Moichiro, especially how they are like their voices are very low. They don't get worked up too much for anything.
And
so
we
they're
saw
very similar.
Moichiro smile.
Right. Yeah. Which is another
quite a bit
rarity.
This episode.
Yeah. For sure. Which was
weird.
Definitely very weird because he doesn't smile at all. No, my number 3 was Rengoku.
Okay, that's valid. Yeah.
So we flash back to another dojo training with Moichiro, and Moichiro basically comes up with the ideas of like, let's use real swords. And all the members are like, what? Like, no, we're getting the crap beat out of us with these wooden training swords. Like, we don't want to use real katanas.
They're really going to get the crap beat out of them.
Now they're really going to get the crap out of it. So they end up doing it. Moichiro grabs one of the trainees grabs one. All the other ones are sitting there, including Tanjiro, watching. And the dude that's up there with Moichiro is just terrified, like literally shaking and sweating and just absolutely terrified.
Trying to put his sword up and it's just...
Yeah. And Tanjiro kind of jumps in here and is like, whoa, this is too much. Like, we should be training with real swords. Like, this is too dangerous, which is very true. Like, and I can't think that
especially
even
how
back
much
in the
they've
day,
been getting hit.
yeah. And especially back in the day, like, these guys weren't training. Like, even samurai were not training with real swords. Like, they had the wooden ones too. Like, it takes one mistake with one of those swords to kill you, basically. So you would never train with something like that. But Moichiro seems confident. I don't know if he was doing it to scare him. Do you think that's what he was doing? Was trying to scare him? Just scare him?
I don't know what he was trying to do.
Because he does comment like, you didn't just wildly attack me, which is an improvement. So I don't know if he was just trying to get him to slow down and relax a little bit, and that was his way of doing it. Because, yeah, he says something like, you didn't just come at me like a honey badger. That's not what he says, but that's what I said. You just come at me wild. So, then the next day, we get to see Moichiro and Tanjiro kind of square off. And this is cool. Again, this is a cool little dojo training fight scene between Tanjiro and Moichiro.
I bet you do not remember what the little banner said when Tanjiro first walked into the dojo.
You know what? I almost wrote it down, but I didn't. Do you remember what it said?
I remember a bit of it. It's something, there's no dust in them. There's no dirt or something. There's no dirt or dust in the mind. Blah, 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 blah. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a little dojo saying that most of those places have. I think we saw that in like Rurouni Kenshin. They had like one of those banners that had some sort of saying on it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like maybe a normal thing that some of these dojos have. But so this fight between Tanjiro and Moichiro cracked me up, because through the entirety of the episode up until this point, Moichiro is just like flat, quiet, almost like depressed sounding while he's talking to the other members. But when he's fighting Tanjiro, he's like super joyful.
He's so happy.
He's happy. He's smiling. He's laughing. He's impressed by Tanjiro. And he actually gives Tanjiro like an early stamp of approval to move on to the next training. Tanjiro's only been there, I think, 5 days. Yeah, I think it's 5 days. The other members have been there for like 2 weeks. And it's funny because he tells Tanjiro, like, you have my stamp of approval to go on to the next one. And Tanjiro's like, are you sure? It's been 5 days. He's like, yeah, it's fine. You did great. You're going to be so good. And then one of the other members asks him, like, can we go also? Because it's been 2 weeks. And he just turns and he's like, who said that you were leaving? Like, just back to his normal Moichiro self. So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, I thought it was just kind of funny. For whatever reason, this is like Tanjiro's thing to do, which is like come up with random challenges. He did this with Giyu with the eating challenges last week's episode. And here he's like, hey, why don't we have a paper airplane like battle? Contest. Whoever can throw, throwing contest. And we see like a little bit of a flashback where it goes back to the swordsmith, and the swordsmith is showing Tanjiro all the paper airplanes that Moichiro had made. And I think that's where a lot of them.
Like, where you get all that paper and stuff.
Like, which I think is what gives Tanjiro this idea to have this thing. But the rules are funny. So Moichiro is basically like, here, you're never going to win. Like, under any circumstances, I'm going to beat you every time. So he's like, if you beat me 1 out of 10 times, we'll just say you won. Tanjiro's like, oh, I got this, dude. All I have to do is beat you once out of 10 tries. Like, I got this. And then we see the 10 tries basically where he fails every single one of them. And you know, you see Moichiro's plane just gliding.
Lord Tokyo. Yep. Winners. Lord
yep. So after he fails, all the other members kind of join in and they want to give it a try. And this is a cool little like kind of heartfelt moment here where they all make paper airplanes together and they all throw them off together, and it's like slowly watching them all glide into the sky. It was kind of cool.
Yes.
But then we get a little snippet of Tanjiro sitting down with Moichiro in private, where he's talking about Nezuko. He's like, now that Nezuko has survived the sunlight, I know Muzan's going to be coming for him. I miss her so much, but I know that if she had come with me to this training, I would have played right into Muzan's hand, and he would have been here. So I trust the person that is watching her. So I'm going to do all the training, and then I'm going to go get her. And we actually see that it's Oro Kodaki that is the one who is watching over her, which
you said
is
it right.
I did, which is he's from the first episode, I think.
Literally.
He's the one that kind of gives Tanjiro shelter, I think, on the mountain. Was that him that gave shelter?
Yes. No, it was not.
No, he was like giving him training before he went to final
just
selection.
Training.
So anyway, he's the dude that has that same blue cloak on that I just showed you of that pop figure with the white mask. So he's the one that's Nezuko's actually with him, and he's watching over it, which is cool to see him back.
White mask?
Oh, it's a red mask. You're right. That's a white mask.
With white hair.
Tanjiro's is. Yep. So that ends episode 4 for us. Tanjiro and Moichiro kind of end the episode by agreeing to take down Muzan together. And that's where episode 4 ends. So like I said,
pretty boring.
Okay episode. Pretty boring.
Short.
I just like it because Moichiro's in it. I love Moichiro. We also see Obanai, which we haven't seen Obanai a whole heck of a lot. So it's cool to see him in any capacity. We get Oro Kodaki back, which I thought was really cool. Even though it's literally like a 1-second scene where you just see him like.
I thought he was gone, like a long gone.
Yeah,
oh, he's back.
So like that ends
a small snippet.
Yeah, just a little one-off scene. I don't know if we'll ever. I'm sure we're gonna see him again when Tanjiro goes. Or can Tanjiro even? I have so many questions, but we'll have to wait till the final episode to ask that.
Just ask.
Well, I can't because my question is in reference to the final episode of the show, so I can't even ask.
You gotta ask me.
And maybe my question.
You either ask me after the episode or in chat, and I'd rather in chat because I'm gonna be anxious the whole episode. If you don't just tell me now.
Okay, I guess I can put it in there. Just don't say anything of what the question is.
Because it'll probably spoil a lot, I would assume.
Yeah, it's gonna spoil. So we will move on to episode 5. Episode 5's title is I Even Ate Demons, which is the name of it, which I thought was such a bizarre name for the episode. I Even Ate Demons. But Tanjiro arrives at Mitsuri's training, who is the next step for him to go to. And she's just her normal bubbly self, super excited to see Tanjiro. She makes him pancakes, and then
not gonna lie, look delicious.
Look freaking delicious. Yeah, they look delicious. She cuts it for him and like feeds it to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on here?
Never had pancakes?
I guess not, but dang, those pancakes looked freaking good, dude. Any anime food, no matter what it is, looks delicious.
Slightly
like you have to agree. Like
he's never had pancakes, so.
Well, I don't know that. I think they're pretty common in Japan today, but I don't know if they were common back then in Japan. But you have to agree. Like even onigiri, which you've had and you did not like, still looks delicious on anime, right? You didn't like it. And just for anybody that's listening that doesn't know what an onigiri is, it is quite literally just a ball of white rice. That's it. And this kid wouldn't even eat it.
Seaweed, I think.
No, I didn't put any yes, normal ones have seaweed, but yours did not have seaweed. Yours was
I
just
just don't
white
like it's
rice.
so dry and freezing cold.
So that's my
Hey, why was
that's
it
my
so
hang up with
salty?
well, it's supposed to be salty. That's my hang up with onigiri is or really and I even commented we got Chinese food at work last shift. And I'm like, I don't understand how anybody eats just plain white rice with nothing on it. Like it's not good.
Well, they
And
don't technically.
Chinese people, Japanese people, that's like a large portion of their diet is rice. So
Yeah,
if
they
you
just
watch
don't
them,
really eat anything.
they eat it with every meal, breakfast, everything. So I just don't like it. I don't know if I just don't have the palate for it. I have to have soy sauce on it at the very least to give it some sort of flavor. Because outside of that, it has like no flavor, and the little bit of flavor that is there is disgusting. So that's
And
just
it's
my
weird
personal
because
take.
when you see Tanjiro eating it, he loves it.
Yeah, yeah, they all do. They all do.
I know
Yeah,
it's so weird. How do you just love
it is
plain
bizarre. Now
white?
that being said, I love sushi. Sushi has white rice in it. A lot of the sushi pieces have white rice in them. So I like it with other stuff. I like it in my Chinese food with the chicken and stuff. But it's just by itself with nothing on it. No, not for me. Anyway, Mitsuri feeds him his pancakes and then holds up a little pink tutu for him to put on. Says, "Can you put this on when you're done eating?" So we flash over to her training, and her training, if you remember when we talked about them all, was flexibility training. So they're doing like ballerina stuff, basically, all in pink tutus.
Mm.
They're doing like ballerina stuff, and then they do like a stretching drill.
Nothing's
And
really gonna change my mind that this isn't really Hashira training.
flexibility
Is
training?
it? Yeah.
I think it is. I
It
think it
might
is.
be
Yeah,
a
because
bit,
and
but
here, let me explain why. Because Tom Brady, okay,
mhm,
which we know is the best quarterback to ever play in the game.
mhm.
A good portion of his training was pliability training, and that's why he didn't get injured as much because he was constantly working in this pliability slash flexibility training so that things that normally would break would just bend or stretched a little bit because he was so flexible and stretchy basically. You can look it up. Yeah.
I'll look it
So
up
I do think
later.
this is actually a decent training for them to go through just for a injury point of view to prevent
Yeah.
injuries. But it is funny because it's being put on by Matsuri, and we women are just way more flexible than men are. They always will be. They always have been. So it's funny that they sit down and they're kind of sitting like with their feet like up against each other and they're pulling on each other and
Mhm.
stretching. And she's like, "That's not how I taught you guys to do this." She's like, "Get up, let me show you." She sits down, puts her feet up there, and then just pushes his feet like into a complete split, and
Split,
he
which
freaks out.
would have hurt
He
so
freaks
bad,
out,
dude. I
and then
can't.
she's like, "Okay, Tanjiro, you're up." And he's like freaking out and goes through the exact same torture of being forced into a split during this flexibility
And the best
training,
part
which I
is,
thought was hilarious.
who told everybody? Who was the one that told Tanjiro about all the training and what happens during them?
I don't remember.
Well, either way. And never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that.
Why?
Here, you go on with what you want to say, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. So, so that's basically, I think, really it for Matsuri's training because we almost immediately swap to Obanai, and Obanai has shown up at Matsuri's training, and he is very, yeah, flexibility training from hell. That's fine. Yeah. Obanai shows up and he is angry. He's angry Obanai, and
So
normally
angry.
he's not a very happy dude, right?
Yeah, so it's not.
He's always like this kind of. He's
It's
not
not
as
that
bad as
much of a
Shinagawa.
surprise.
No, it's
He's
not that big of a
angry.
surprise. But it is funny what he's mad at. So he's mad because he got a letter from Mitsuri where she's basically talking about how cute Tanjiro is during all this training and during eating the pancakes and all this stuff, and that infuriates him. I believe that they're dating. Is that correct? Obanai and Mitsuri, they like each other. Okay, because he's acting like a jealous boyfriend is what he's acting like here, where he's like mad that she's calling some other dude cute. But so we get a little snap, like a flashback of him reading that letter and becoming infuriated. And he opens up his dojo to show what his training is going to be. And what is
Wild. It's basically, I don't know how to explain it. It's basically just a bunch of obstacles with other core members set up, with pretty much just trapped in there. And if I was there personally, I would have freaked out. I would have tried to escape completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I think that they're like completely bound on there, so there's no escaping. They're tied to these like
tape over
wooden posts basically throughout. So he's right, it's like an obstacle course, but he has like a bunch of members tied up, and he tells Tanjiro, like, here's what the training is going to be. You have to go and through and hit these 3 targets without hitting any of the members. I'll show you how to do it. And he does it super quick. And then Tanjiro gets up there and just starts overthinking it and does it like super slow, trying not to hit these members, because really where he's slicing on each side of where he's slicing is a tied up member. So he's slicing right between them. So there's really no leeway. Like if he's off a little bit, he's going to hurt one of these guys. So he's overthinking it. He can hear like voices of them screaming in his head, like trying to get out, like, let me out, help us, don't hit us, let us out. And I thought this was kind of cool. Tanjiro says, like, honest, so
you could go.
No, don't do that. Go. When I stop, you go.
Okay. But what it was is we only really see like 2, maybe 3 members get hit. Right? I don't see a lot.
Does he hit any members?
Yeah, he does.
I don't even remember him hitting anybody, to be honest with you. But yeah, maybe he does.
But not a lot.
But Tanjiro calls this the most terrifying training, which I thought was cool. And the way he says it, so the most terrifying training began. I thought was kind of cool. And we see a montage again of him attempting to do this with the muffled cries of these members in his head. He's really overthinking it.
Yeah. Really.
And Obanai kind of pops in. He's like, here, your only goal now is to hit me. So you need to hit me. That's your goal. And without hitting these other members. So they're really fighting in this obstacle course. And Obanai's having no trouble. He's using his serpent breathing to bend through and hit Tanjiro, which I thought was kind of cool.
Which is so cool how that works. It's
very cool. Yeah, serpent breathing is maybe so far my second favorite breathing technique. I think it's cool, dude. And I just like Obanai. I think his design is really cool.
Do you remember?
You mean what?
What?
Go ahead.
I said that. Anyways, do you remember his last name? Because I don't.
Obanai is his last name, isn't it?
No, that's his first name.
You don't remember his name?
I don't.
Or are you quizzing me? Yeah, you're right. Obanai. Iguro? Iguro.
Iguro. Yeah. That's what it was. How did I remember that? That's one of the
So I think
ones.
That might. I don't know if that's his first or his last name, because you remember Japanese people have their names the opposite of what we have. Their last name comes first and then their first name. So anyway, we see the training end for the day, and the members all go to like a hot tub, and they're all like standing over top of a hot tub, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is gonna hurt so bad on our cuts." So they
They
all jump
have.
in.
It's weird because they kind of all have the identical cuts in the identical places.
Yeah. Well, I think that was probably the point. Like whoever was fighting them is super accurate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, we get kind of just a montage of this over and over where they're training during the day, going to the hot tub at night, and on day 4, after all these failed attempts of Tanjiro trying to learn this, he finally does. He knows he needs to focus on Obanai. He says like something like if your sword gets caught on something during a fight, it could be fatal.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to focus on him. And it's cool because he almost puts himself into a vision of like a forest.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're fighting
Which
in
is
the
super cool,
forest,
yeah,
him and
you're right.
Obanai, which I thought was really cool. That he was even able to do that. So he was able to completely erase the members tied up and kind of make his own little fighting arena that he could go through. And he's able to slice Obanai's little coat. And he says, like, one of the members when I got here said, as soon as you slice one of his articles of clothing, the training's over and you can move on. And that's exactly what happens. And
I could have sworn this was 2 days, right? Unless they like skipped a few, which they usually do.
It was 4 days.
4 days?
Yeah, the montage takes like several days. So you see the first day and you get like 2 or 3 days in the middle there. And then on the final day is when he does it, which is day 4. So another super short training that Tanjiro goes through. And he's off to his next one. And this episode's funny because we're going through like a lot of trainings. We're going through quite a few trainings throughout this episode. So he's off to his next, and Zenitsu pops out of nowhere, scares the crap out of Tanjiro. He is like classic terrified Zenitsu, where he's like, "Get me out of here!
Always terrified.
I had to escape."
He's always so scared.
He's always so scared. It's hilarious. And he's like, "I had to escape. Like, I can barely even stand up. This training's so hard." And then it shows him escaping while he's like, "I had to crawl. I had to crawl on the ground. I had to crawl on the walls." And he's like crawling out of the thing. And just as he's done it, kind of explaining it, Shinizagawa shows up. And that's the training that they're heading to. He is horrified. Dude, he is kind of scary. I'm not going to lie to you. Especially in this episode. He was a little scary. Horrifying. And he's super blunt too. He's like basically like Zenitsu, like, make your choice. You can come back to training or I'll just kill you right now. I'm like, jeez, okay.
And like super casual.
Super casual about it, yeah. And so he basically tells Tanjiro, like, here, carry Zenitsu back. Tanjiro kind of apologizes to him. And I think Shinizagawa says that he doesn't respect Tanjiro at all. And he's like, well, that's funny because I don't really respect you either because you stabbed Nezuko. And then he just starts walking off with which I thought was hilarious that they're both just so blunt about not liking each other. So his training is kind of outside. And this is like do you remember the Demon Slayer game that we used to play together? This is like one of the fighting arenas from the game. And I think it was the Demon Slayer headquarters, like daytime map that was outside in that like courtyard. So that's where they're at. They're outside. They're doing striking training. So it's basically Shinizagawa in the middle, all the members around them coming in and trying to attack. And they have to do it until they either throw up or pass out. That's the training. There's no breaks. Tanjiro even comments, like, even Obanai's training had breaks. There's no breaks at this training. And Tanjiro gets banged up, like, real bad, real quick. Like, he's all beat up. He's got, like, a black eye, multiple big bruises all over him.
Yeah.
And he is kind of, I think, resting after training, and he hears people talking in the hallway, and he goes to look, and it's Shinizagawa and Genya, his brother. And his brother, it's like his little brother. He's always trying to get his attention. And I don't know. So we got snippets of their story. Does Shinizagawa blame him for their parents dying?
I think, yeah.
So he's a total jerk to him. He's basically like, here, you shouldn't even be here, dude. Like, you can't use a breathing technique. Like, you can't even fight. And this is where the title of the episode comes out. As he's walking away, Genya's like, I even ate demons to try and fight better. And that absolutely infuriates Shinazagawa. So he like poofs out of existence, like disappears, and Genya is confused. Tanjiro is not confused and like dashes towards Genya and kind of tackles him right before his brother's fingers poke his eyes out. And they kind of stumble all the way outside. And Zenitsu's like, oh my God, he's coming. Here, hurry up. Act like you're passed out. And he like lays down and acts like he's passed out. I thought that was
classic
hilarious.
Zenitsu.
And this is I thought this scene was cool. You can hear Shinazagawa coming from inside of the building. He sounds like a monster. It sounds like he's making big, loud stomps. And then he pokes his head out and basically threatens to beat up Genya beyond any point where he could recover, so he could just be out of the Demon Slayer Corps. Right? Like, I'm just going to beat you up to the point where you cannot recover, and then you're going to be gone. And Tanjiro kind of steps in and says, like, here, without Genya, like, I'd be dead. Like, the demons last season would have killed us without him. So he might not be able to use a breathing technique, but he's
is
needed.
true. I think they would have died if they didn't have him. There's a couple important parts where he comes in.
Yeah, there is. And Tanjiro brings up a good point. Like, yeah, he can't use a breathing technique, but he's here risking his life to help fight. So can't be mad at that. And let's be honest, he's way more fluent of a fighter than any of the lower Demon Corps guys.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So this kind of makes Shinazagawa mad. He's like, fine, I'll just beat you up to the point of no recovery as well. You guys can both just get beat up. So the two fight, and eventually the core members jump in, and it's like a fight that lasts basically until dusk. And so a long fight of all of them kind of scuffling together. And at the end, Tanjiro says he ended up getting a write-up from the higher-ups because of the fight. He got kicked out of the Wind Hashira's training. So he got kicked out of Shinazagawa's training. And him and Zenitsu, I think, both got kicked out because they were both all fighting like together. And they take off together, and they're traveling like up a mountain for the final scene here. And Zenitsu is basically like, where's the Stone Hashira's house? Like, we've been walking up this mountain forever. Like, how far up is this thing? And they eventually start.
It's not a house.
It's not a house, right? So they eventually hear something. It sounds like a waterfall. And they come up on a waterfall, and under the waterfall is Inosuke and a couple of the lower Demon Slayers. And they're kind of like in a Buddha stance underneath the waterfall, saying some Buddha chant. And
who knows what it is?
Who knows what they're saying? I didn't write it down. But then we see the Stone Hashira, and he is doing basically the same thing. He's in a meditating stance, and he's got fire all around him.
Yeah.
And I think he comments on something like, when you master your mind, like even fire can't hurt you. And that's how the episode ends. So we're moving on. I think this might be the last Hashira training, maybe?
Yes, it is.
I think this might be the last. So we're working towards the end here. Generally, how did you feel about these episodes?
Still boring. I mean, it's just the training.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, there was a little bit snippets here and there, but honestly, something that could have been a 5-minute scene in a movie that would have satisfied any curiosity that we had, right? Yeah. So that does it for episodes 4 and 5 here for us. We have not decided how we're going to finish this episode up yet. What do you think?
No clue. Don't know.
No clue. So let's just do some trivia since we are kind of out of top 5 ideas for the current moment. Or we can just end it right here. What do you want to do?
I want to think of something.
You want to think of something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What can we think of here? Let's do breathing techniques.
Breathing techniques? Okay. We can do that.
Top 5 breathing techniques. Yeah, I'm sorry our internet, for whatever reason, is taking a crap.
Yeah, you are so laggy.
You're very, I look crystal clear on my end. You're completely frozen.
Same. I look crystal clear. You're freeze. Your camera's going crazy. So is your mic, but like it's not freezing up your mic. I can still kind of hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you as well, which I guess is a good thing. But okay, let's spout out some breathing techniques here. Water breathing.
Okay. Moon breathing.
Moon breathing. Okay.
Sun breathing.
Fire. Sun.
Sound.
What's sound?
Mist.
Yeah.
Serpent.
Okay.
Love
Zenitsu,
breathing?
what's that? Thunder? Lightning?
Yeah, that's
Thunder breathing?
Thunder breathing, yeah. Love breathing for Mitsuri, I think.
Love breathing. Okay, what else are we missing? Anything?
Oh yeah, we got more that we can cover. I can't think.
That's all right. That's it. I mean, we got enough.
Okay.
So let me do the top 5 list here for each of us. And then you can go ahead and go first for number 5.
Number 5, I'm going to go water breathing.
Water breathing, Tanjiro's first. And is it Oro Kodaki's? No, he used to, right? He used the water hashira, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow you up on, and I'm gonna put man, I don't know, because some of these I don't even know yet. I'm gonna put water as well. Not from the standpoint of it, how it looks visually, because it looks freaking stunning visually in the show too. What are you doing?
Nothing.
You're doing something. Yeah, stop messing around. Get off whatever you're on and pay attention.
The internet?
Okay? No. Don't do that. I'm saying whatever you're doing, get off of it because you're not paying attention. Okay, number 4.
I feel like this is too low, but I'm gonna go fire breathing.
Oh man, that is really low.
But it's because I think I got some good ones to put in.
I'm gonna put sound breathing. Just because I thought it was really cool. It really reminded me of Sekiro. Like I said, Sekiro is a through and through rhythm game, and it reminded me, like that fight reminded me a lot of Sekiro. So I put sound breathing on here.
Sound breathing, yeah. Sound breathing, unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna put on my list.
No, interesting.
I like Tengen, but
yeah,
I don't think he's gonna make the list. 3.
Yes.
It's really hard, but I'm gonna go mist breathing.
Mist breathing. Okay, I am going to go with Thunder next. Just because everything that we've seen of Zenitsu in the show has been really, really cool. So I'd love to see more of it. I'm sure we're going to get more of it, but I really like the thunder breathing. I think it's really sweet. But we haven't seen a lot of it. But again, I think what I was saying when you weren't paying attention to me like you are right now, water breathing
Attention.
animated wise is like really, really cool.
Yes.
Like if this was based off of animation, water breathing would probably be my number one.
Yeah. And
but
Mist is good.
Mist was cool too. Yeah, you're right.
Cool.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2, I'm gonna go dark thunder breathing.
Dark thunder breathing.
Yes.
That's your boy. What's his name?
Kaigaku.
Kaigaku, yeah, I figured.
Can't wait to see him in the movie.
I'm gonna go with Serpent at number 2.
Okay, I think I know it's gonna be your number 1, but I'm not gonna say it.
Just what we've seen in Serpent breathing so far, I thought it has been really cool. We haven't really seen it used in any capacity, but I thought what we have so far is pretty sweet. Number 1.
Am I allowed to put 2 tied at number 1?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go Moon and Sun tied.
Sun and Moon tied. And we have not seen those on the show, right?
We have not, and you're gonna love it. It was cool in the manga, so you're gonna love it when it's animated.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it because I've heard you talk about it quite a bit, Sun and Moon. And yeah, my number 1 spot obviously goes to Mist breathing. I think that so far, Mist breathing is the coolest that we've seen on the show. I mean, it's a little on brand for me currently right now because I'm wearing a Muichiro shirt, but it is actually my favorite technique that we've seen so far. So, Brady. Go ahead.
I know. Do you have any bonuses or honorable mentions or anything like that?
No, I don't.
I don't either. I was just asking.
Yeah, just because the other ones on here I have not seen yet. So I haven't seen Dark Thunder. I haven't seen Sun or Moon. I put Fire on mine, which I mean, seems weird that I didn't put Fire on there, but it is what it is. So you have number 5 of Water, number 4 of Fire, number 3 of Mist, number 2 of Dark Thunder, and number 1 of Sun/Moon. I have number 5 of Water as well, number 4 of Sound, 3 of Thunder, 2 Serpent, and number 1 is Mist. So that is our top 5 for our favorite breathing techniques that we've seen so far, even though Brady put like 4 or 5 on there that we haven't seen.
Yes, I think I'm good with my list.
Yeah, I think I'm good with mine too. It does seem weird that I left Fire off, but even looking at it, I don't know where I would put it unless I boot Water out of the number 5 spot and put Fire there. Because it is really kind of badass time to use Fire for the first time, you know? Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll just leave it. We'll leave it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do number 5, Water/Fire. Since you had a slash, I'm going to put a slash on there too. All right. You got anything else? Made it an hour. We were a little struggling thinking about like how long this episode was going to last because there wasn't a lot to talk about. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made it last an hour. That's a good amount of time.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of time for 2 anime episodes. I think that does it. Do you have anything else?
No. Nope.
All right. We will be back next week with episode 6 and 7. So only 2 more episodes of the companion series to do.
Really?
Next week will be the penultimate episodes, and then the finale will be a dedicated episode that we will be talking about the finale. So only 2 more left, and we are done with the season 4. Anyway,
Wait.
subscribe to us here on YouTube.
Please.
Subscribe to us on Showboys Podcast on YouTube, Showboys Gaming on YouTube, which Dad is kind of growing up a little bit. Not your dad, Showboys Dad. He's got his own series going on over there, so you can check it out. And drop by our Discord, because that's where a lot of the action happens. And leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite breathing technique is, or your top 5. We'll read through them and talk about it next episode. Anyway, I'm Chad. That's Brady. We're out. Till next week.